Well, the string of staggering surpluses in our state coffers continue. This week, the Nonpartisan Budget Office released a report that says we may be close to another billion in the black next year. And agencies that have seen funding flat in years past say it's time to invest more in things like school and elder care and mental health. Joining me now is Norma Martinez-Hosang. She's the director of Connecticut for All. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me here.
So your organization is a coalition of union groups and so many others, nonprofits, religious leaders, fighting for tax fairness and other things. So here in Connecticut, we've had a budget problem for years. We were trying to get ourselves out of debt. Well, now the last several years, we've paid off our debt. We've paid down our long-term liabilities. There are still tens of billions to pay off to make sure state employees can have their pensions in years to come. But Connecticut for All views this big surplus a little bit differently. You'd like to see it taken care of in another way. How so?
Yeah, you know, Connecticut for All is, like you said, an organization of about 60 labor community organizations representing hundreds of thousands of people in Connecticut. And we're really working to shift what's happening in Connecticut with extreme inequality that really affects us on a gender, socioeconomic, and racial justice. We see that with a racial justice lens. As you said, we just heard an announcement that there's about more than $1 billion in surplus. We think that, you know, communities are suffering and communities need to see that money invested now. I mean, I'll tell you a story. Just last week, one of the members of one of the coalition partners died from not having health insurance, and I'm not exaggerating. She went into the ER April 1st, got diagnosed with terminal cancer, and died April the 24th. As you said, Hartford schools are in dire need of funding, and although the $10.5 million that was promised and that's coming in is a great step in the right direction, the original hole was stated at $40 million. Para professionals are suffering. They're making $24,000 a year to bring them up to a living wage. You know, that costs money. We need long-term investments in our communities, and we have the money now, and we should invest it.
So moving forward, Democratic leaders in the House and Senate say it's time to adjust the volatility cap. For if you don't know, the volatility cap is when big hedge funds make lots of money, they pay more taxes, but that can go up and down, up and down. So they try to regulate that so the state can continue to pay their bills. Would you like to see the volatility cap adjusted? Is that part of what you'd like to see happen to change the way we have money in our state to address some of these issues? Absolutely.
You know, the volatility cap hasn't been as volatile as it was expected to be when it was enacted. And so I think it's been about $400 million. We've seen up to $1 billion coming in. So we don't see it as very volatile when the money that's coming in is that high. So we want to see adjusted. We want to see the money that taxpayers have already paid being used to support our communities and families.
Moving forward, one of the stories you talked about was health insurance. They're trying, members of the state delegation are trying to come up with ways that everybody can get health insurance, whether if your company doesn't offer it, no matter what you're doing. Is that a step in the right direction, and does that start to help people who don't have it that you represent?
Absolutely. Any movement to covering more people absolutely helps. You know, we have members who are working 40 hours a week full-time that actually do get health insurance through their jobs.
Right.
But even then, their co-pays are so high that they can't afford to get insurance, the insurance that they need. We have children who, because they're undocumented, cannot get health insurance. That's unconscionable in Connecticut, one of the richest states in the nation. So we see that as a move in the right direction, and money should be invested in that.
And that's another thing you've been fighting for in the state capitol as well. So now, Republican leader in the House, Vincent Candelora, had this to say about this push to try to change the guardrails. He says, I know the governor and the Democrats are trying to negotiate their way out of this and pretend they're honoring the guardrails. I'm very concerned that they're setting up things for next year for these guardrails to fail. What do you think, one, about the guardrails, and two, his comments on this? Does it feel as if, you know, you'd like to see a different kind of support?
Yeah, I mean, who we're failing is the people of Connecticut. That's who we're failing. So the guardrails were never meant to, they were meant, and we believe in the guardrails. You know, we need to have fiscal responsibility, and that's okay. Totally need that. Pensioners need to be able to retire and have the money that they've expected. But we're failing the people of Connecticut when they are suffering, when they're living paycheck to paycheck, working 1, 2, 3 full-time jobs, and still can't make ends meet. That's what we're failing, and that's what we're trying to change.
Does Connecticut for All have priorities moving forward, what would you like to see addressed first? There's so many issues here. Are there anything that you say, look, this is where we have to start?
Well, I think, we have a large number of issues. Starting anywhere would be great. I mean, we're fighting for filling a hole for higher education right now. We hope that passes, but higher education has been disinvested for many, many years. So even when we get that support, we're looking for transformative investments that are sustainable and that are long term. So we
not
just
a
need,
one-off. Here's some money.
which is what might
Right,
happen
right.
even with these supports. And don't get me wrong, like that's great, and we're so happy that our champions in the legislature are with us and moving in that direction. But what we need is big systemic change that is gonna bring families out of the situation they're in right now.
Norma Martinez-Hosang, Connecticut, for all. We appreciate
Thank
your
you
time
so
this
much.
morning. Thanks for joining us.